Recently, HBO released a documentary about the rise and fall of Moviepass. This week, AJ and I are discussing not just Moviepass, but how it's affected the movie theater industry overall. This is I Pierce the Toast. I'm Sean.
And I'm AJ. Let's make some toast.
Welcome back to I Pierce the Toast.
Ooh, I don't have anything for this.
You have nothing.
I know it's IPTT. I just don't know if it's like IPTT, but do I need to pay a subscription for that? And then like it all goes downhill. I don't really know. How does this work?
Well, don't worry, AJ. You're not gonna have to pay a subscription to hear this story this week. And until further notice, there is no subscription to hear these types of stories because we like to bring fun, free content to all of our toasticles.
Fun, free toast.
That's
to everybody.
Right. That's right. But unfortunately, we have some bad news we have to discuss first.
What's the bad news?
Do you remember Dabney Coleman? Dabney Coleman?
The Dab Queen? Who are you talking about?
The Dab Queen.
Who are you talking about?
I don't know. I don't even know if you'll remember him. He was in Tootsie. He was in 9 to 5 with Dolly Parton. Do you remember that movie?
Was he the boss?
Yes, that's him. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So I didn't realize. First off, I know this is kind of mean, but I didn't realize he was still alive. But he was until recently. Passed away, and I think he was 91 years old. So good for Dabney.
Long run.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we did lose him on May 16th. So
Oh, that's sad.
it is sad. He was a pretty prolific actor. I assume, I had not heard anything, majorly problematic about him, so I assume he, was a pretty stand-up guy. But I really loved him in 9 to 5. I loved him in, Cloak and Dagger. Obviously Tootsie is a classic. He was in War Games.
Who was he in War Games?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The problem with War Games is you're not really focused on the extra characters there. You've got Matthew Broderick, and that's really the film.
Is Ali Sheedy in that one too?
Was that who his kind of My Girl Friday was from that?
I think so. I can't remember who the alternate girl.
Me either. It's been
the
so long.
alternate.
The alternate.
the
alt girl.
Yes, the alt girl. His supporting cast was. Yeah, it was Ali Sheedy.
Yeah, you're right. It was Ali
okay.
Sheedy. The other news we have, and I don't know if you heard about this, and I thought this was a little weird. Do you remember a movie from 2004? And it really. It made a lot of headlines, and it even led to a corporation ceasing a particular product line that had become quite popular. And the film was called Super Size Me.
Oh, yeah, he died.
Yeah, at 53. Mr. Super fucking healthy that eating McDonald's for 30 days was just, deteriorating his body, dies at 53. I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know if it's like, maybe McDonald's is the cause. Maybe they sent in some secret agent. I don't know. But I saw that and I was thinking to myself, I thought he was a health food nut. I thought he was all about just health in general. And how did he actually die? I didn't see that.
I think it was cancer.
Okay,
let me look here.
You can't beat that. McDonald's isn't. I mean, they could. I don't know how they.
Well, no, I'm not suggesting hey, you should have, clearly your lifestyle wasn't really that healthy. Like I don't want to play that. I hate it when people do that. Where somebody who's a triathlon person and does all that, and they die a little bit younger, maybe because their heart just couldn't take what they were doing. And they're like, well, I guess it doesn't pay to be healthy. Like, yes, it still fucking pays. Like, the overwhelming evidence shows that it still pays to be healthy. Don't use the one example of the one guy that died young because of, exercising too much as the example to hold up.
Well, I'm kind of just talking about maybe there's a hidden thing that's going on here. Maybe McDonald's sent in a secret agent with a cancer in a vial. I don't know.
I don't know if they would do it in a vial. I feel like they would do it in a Big Mac.
But he wouldn't have eaten the Big Mac. They would have had to put it in like a kale salad.
Maybe they disguised the Big Mac as a kale salad.
Oh, yeah. See, that's a secret Mac sauce.
Give you some secret Mac sauce. Yes, it was cancer.
That's
so
sad.
no, I just thought it's very sad. I just thought it was kind of interesting that this person's claim to fame really was bringing down the supersize. And for any of our Toasticals that are too young to remember, McDonald's used to have a fourth size. So right now they have small, medium, and large French fries, and they used to have what was called a supersize.
Oh yeah.
And the kind of point of Supersize Me was not only to kind of point out the problems of, eating McDonald's consistently and how it's really bad for you, and we all know this, let's be honest. None of us are eating McDonald's because we're just like, I think it might not be okay. Well, it might just be healthy. No, it's because, we're like, we don't care. That's why you eat at McDonald's. But he, every time he would go to the drive-thru, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, every time he would go for lunch and dinner, one of the things the associates always used to ask you at McDonald's is, would you like to supersize that? And so he, as part of his documentary, as part of kind of the rules he set for himself, he basically said, anytime they ask, I will say yes. If they don't ask, I will just get whatever I ordered. But if they ask if I want to supersize it, I will always say yes.
Didn't he do a study? I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen the documentary, but I believe that after the study, it showed that he had done some kind of crazy damage to his body, like his kidneys were larger or something like that.
I think so, but somebody also kind of made a very important point. Like, you and I are probably, occasional McDonald's eaters. I probably eat a little bit more than you do, and it's not necessarily...
I'm fatter than you, too. I just rarely eat McDonald's.
But even though... So we both eat it occasionally. I think the biggest problem was he was a vegan. He was a super healthy vegan, and then just basically abandoned his entire diet for this one type of food. And there's really not a lot of vegetables at McDonald's, so it's like, well, yeah, of course it's going to
get a salad.
Yeah, of course that's going to fuck you up. So I as much as I do agree that obviously McDonald's is bad for you and you shouldn't be eating it, consistently, and you need to, even if you do occasionally have McDonald's, obviously you need to make sure you're supplementing with, healthier foods and vegetables and fruits and grains. Going full fucking throttle into it after you've done nothing but eat like the healthiest possible fucking diet, like, yeah, your body's gonna fucking be mad at you. That's just that just seems kind of like the principle of no fucking duh.
That kind of seems like what happens to me after a long week, and I'm like, you know what? Because I don't usually eat sugar during the week, right? But I do get one day where I get to have as much fucking sugar as I want. And guess what happens? I get the last time. I mean, it was previous to last night because I had some gummy bears and they were fucking delicious. But I had gotten a chocolate Long John that had cream filling in it. I ate half that bitch, and I was like, I gotta fucking take a nap. I can't deal with this right now.
Dude, that's just being over 40. Like, that's you eat like yesterday. I got some ice cream with our pals Caleb and John, and that night I was passing out on the couch. Like, I'm just old. That's what happens with old people. You have some sugar, and your body's just like, oh, is that right, Rambo?
Oh, is that right, Rambo?
Like, just fuck you, pal. But AJ, we're not here to talk about sugar or McDonald's or Spurlocks. That's not what we're here for, AJ.
Uh-huh.
AJ, I'm here to ask you a question.
If you ask me, do I want to play a game? We've already done that episode.
I want to play a game. No. I want to ask you, how well do you remember 2017?
Let's see. I was a young chap. I had been in my second year as a lab assistant at a facility. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't remember it very well because since I was still young, I was still drinking.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah. Now you asked me about my drinking days. I'll tell you, I remember that there was a sun, but I don't know if it shone as brightly.
No, you know what happened to the sun? Because I'm going to derail us for just a second. I know we're getting into the actual meat and potatoes, as it were. But no,
the actual Big Mac.
What would fucking happen is that this miscreant would have me drinking all night. I was a novice drinker. I wasn't. I'm gonna tell you some shit. I'm gonna get him in trouble. I was a fucking novice drinker. I wasn't even 21 yet. I had moved in with this bastard, and it was like a fucking marathon drink session. I get there and it's like, no, welcome to the fucking Thunderdome. So we complete an entire 24 pack of them silver bullets, and the sun would just be shining in the morning. Maybe just crested the hill, because there's a time that you can't buy alcohol. As soon as that fucking time was up, we're going right down the street to this fucking gas station. We're doing round 2.
I will neither confirm nor deny. So, 2017 was
Fucking debaucher.
no lies detected. So, 2017, AJ, we had an interesting year. It was a pretty crazy year. A reality TV game show host was sworn in as the president of the United States. The Patriots beat the Falcons in overtime to clinch the Super Bowl. Wildfires were occurring all over the globe. And a little-known company was about to become a household name for all the wrong reasons.
Play-Doh?
Like the kids like sticky like dough stuff?
Yeah.
No, not Play-Doh.
Oh, okay.
No, Play-Doh is still famous for all the right reasons. For bringing joy and fun to millions of children all over the world.
And at least 10 days worth of your sodium content in one bite.
That's right. What? You'll be hard-pressed to find someone who doesn't remember the meteoric rise and subsequent fall of Moviepass, the subscription service that allowed you to see an unlimited amount of movies for $9.99 a month at any theater in the United States.
I remember when this released, because Sean and I have always loved movies. When this released, you and I went fucking crazy.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Because
man.
this was a game changer.
It was. I mean, because before that, you had to pay basically at least $10 every time you went to the movies.
Yeah.
So this thing was saying you can now take the price of one film and just keep going. And so, dear God, we went nuts. I think we saw everything. I was talking to John. He was even joking, I even went and saw those things like the opera things that they hosted. They
Because you
like
could
the night of
see
the opera.
anything.
Yeah, you could see anything. It didn't matter. It was amazing. So basically how it worked for any of our viewers that are unfamiliar. You signed up for a subscription and downloaded an app. Then Moviepass would send you their signature red credit card.
Yeah.
Ooh. Anytime you wanted to see a movie, you just went to the app, selected the theater and showtime, and the funds would be loaded to the card, and you just used it like a regular credit card. And when you bought the tickets at the theater, the craziest part was it worked for every movie, every single one. You want to see a brand new film? Sure. You want to see it in IMAX? No problem. You want to see it 10 times in 1 week? Go fucking nuts.
I was on the end of okay, well, I'm probably only going to see maybe 2 movies a week and everything like that. I just wanted to make sure I got my value out of it. But I remember you were going all the fucking time.
I mean, it made sense because it was like, going to the movies was always such an experience. Not to bring up Nicole Kidman because they apparently, like you were saying, they're ending that campaign. We come to this place for magic. She's not fucking wrong. The movie theater the theater experience was always a magical thing to me. My father would take me and we'd sit in the movie theater, and then the lights dim. And you got to see these previews for these new movies that were coming out, and then they'd have like that intro thing right before the movie started, and it would just blast you into this world of imagination for whatever experience you were about to have, whether it was sorrowful or funny or romantic. For that usually an hour and a half, because back then they didn't do much longer movies like Braveheart. That was more of a rarity, but for those couple of hours, you were transported. And it was an amazing experience. And so when Moviepass was like, "Hey, we're making going to the theater affordable again," I was like, "Well, fucking sign me up," because God knows, even now, it's just not affordable. It isn't. I mean,
No.
you're paying $15 to $20 per person because of all the fucking fees they add on. And yeah, you can find ways around it, but oh God, it's not a feasible undertaking anymore.
It was for the price of 2 tickets. Well, it was $20 a month, wasn't it? Or
was 10.
It was 10.
$9.99. Yeah.
Yeah. So for $10 a month, lower than the cost of one movie ticket, you can see unlimited movies. I mean, there was some stipulations there because I believe that at least AMC, you couldn't on certain days or whenever a movie had just released, you couldn't.
Well, that came later.
Okay, okay,
We will discuss
okay.
that.
All right,
But
never mind. I'm getting ahead.
no,
of
no, no,
myself.
by all means. But as I'm sure our toasticles are probably guessing now, there's going to be some problems ahead.
Yeah.
From the reduction of the service price to $9.99 in August of 2017, the number of subscribers went from 20,000 to over 1 million by December of that year. And of course, there were a slew of problems. Servers were crashing, shipments of cards were delayed, the app had to be continually revamped to accommodate new features. It was absolute insanity. Moviepass had been around since 2011, but at $9.99 for unlimited theater viewings, people couldn't get enough. By February of 2018, Moviepass crossed the 2 million subscriber mark.
What I want to know too is that I know we're going to talk about this, but when it comes to the theaters themselves that kind of banded together later, they were making a killing in concessions. Because I remember that every single time I went, I at least got a popcorn, maybe a drink, but I at least got a popcorn. So you're talking about times that people necessarily wouldn't be at the movies that are now at the movies. You're getting triple, quadruple, 10 times your revenue in a month. But it just seems to me that, I mean, I know you're going to talk about this. The cards were all for the movie theaters at that point.
Oh,
yeah, they were probably losing a little bit of money on ticket prices, but they were making it way back when it came to concession.
That's just it. They weren't losing any money on ticket prices. They weren't losing any money at all. And the stock price of AMC definitely reflects how well they were doing. Because you got to remember, Moviepass was floating the bill for all the tickets.
Yeah, they were.
The $10 was going to Moviepass, and then Moviepass was having to then pay for all the tickets that people were using. So if anybody's doing the math in their head right now, the math wasn't mathing. And we're going to get into that.
Yeah, let's hear this.
As I'm sure our toasticles can imagine, it didn't take long for everything to go tits up. Just 2 months after hitting record subscribers in April of 2018, the company's financials showed it was losing $20 million a month. This is where we see the decline of Moviepass. It started small. App issues that seemed almost intentional, the more frequent users reporting they were no longer able to use the service at all, limitations on the number of movies you could see each month for new subscribers, the introduction of surge pricing. Then the big one hit. In July of 2018, the biggest summer blockbuster, Mission Impossible Fallout, was completely unavailable on the service to every single user.
Mm-hmm.
From there, it just got worse. In August of 2018, users who were obviously unhappy with the service and decided to cancel suddenly found themselves re-enrolled in the service without their permission. And investigations into the company's practices were being opened in New York. It took another year and a half for the company to finally declare bankruptcy, but the events leading up to August of 2018 became the unofficial end of the service. In March of this year, a documentary was released called Moviepass Movie Crash on HBO, which goes fully in depth in what really led to the downfall of the company, putting a lot of focus on Stacy Spikes, the original founder, who was overtaken and dismissed by Mitch Lowe and Ted Farnsworth. I recommend watching the documentary in full, as it really serves as a phoenix rising from the ashes story about how Stacy's love of movies drove him to not only create the company with Hamay Watt, but attempt its current resurrection.
The thing that is crazy to me is that since we're now getting into the company's financials and everything that was going on, as a user during this time, we had no idea what was going on. We just knew that the service that we were starting to love and we were really starting to get into was no longer something that we could actually do anymore. I'd never wanted to pay another dime for it because you couldn't use it anymore.
Oh yeah, the watching this all unfold in real time was absolute insanity.
Yeah.
It was nuts because I think you and I signed on to the service pretty early. I think it was
I think
it was like September of 2017. Like we were there pretty early for the $9.99 release, and good God, we went to the movies all the time. And then, but by the next year, we started seeing all those problems, and I think you and I actually canceled well before August.
Yeah, it was one of those things that we heard kind of like whenever Netflix, for everyone that never had a movie pass, the comparison would be when Netflix came out and said you can no longer share your service with your people. A lot of people jumped off that bandwagon as soon as that happened. We were kind of in that same level where we're like, they're going to limit the amount of movies we can watch. We can't really do this anymore. I'm just going to stop paying this.
Yeah, and that's exactly, AJ and I very luckily got out before it got really bad. So we didn't have to deal with what a lot of the users started reporting in like August of 2018, because that's when shit really hit the fan.
Yeah.
I think by that point we were because I remember reading about the Mission Impossible Fallout debacle, and I was like, thank God we're not fucking on that service anymore. But here's where we're going to take an unexpected turn. This episode isn't about Moviepass, at least not really. This episode is about how Moviepass somehow found itself at the heart of what I believe is the end of movie theaters as we know it. And we're going to show that with 3 nails in the coffin that is the movie theater.
Just movie theaters before we get into this, just know that IPTT as a company is not on board with what Sean is saying. We love you guys.
No, I want movie theaters to succeed, but as I'm going to show in my thesis paper,
your thesis paper,
what I will show is not that movie theaters shouldn't exist. It's that companies like AMC have killed the movie theater industry on their own accord by not heeding the lessons of a very recent past that they could have easily looked at and instead thought, no, we'll just keep doing it the way we were doing it because our profits are huge, until they weren't. And that's what we're going to discuss.
All right.
Nail number 1. Netflix and Mitch Lowe. In 1997, Netflix launched a DVD by mail service after Reed Hastings was charged a late fee for a movie he rented. For anybody who doesn't know, Reed Hastings was the CEO and founder of Netflix. When you went to a movie rental store like Blockbuster in the 90s or Hollywood Video, you were typically given a 3-day period by which the rental had to be returned. If you failed to return it on time, they charged a late fee. And these fees were no joke. The movie might cost you $4 to rent, but after a couple of days of being late, you could owe up to $10 fucking dollars. And Reed Hastings clearly had enough. With his company, you would pay to rent the movie and then just return it when you were done. No late fees, no hassle, and no even having to leave your house because it was all done through the mail. Within a year, Netflix moved from a pay-to-use model to a subscription model.
Oh, yeah. That's whenever I think my mom got on during that time.
Yeah. And I think that's when a lot of people started taking notice because they were like, wait a minute. You're saying that you don't have to pay for each DVD that you rent anymore? Or I guess at the time it was, it was all DVDs.
It was all DVDs because I remember the first DVDs that we got. Actually, it might have been 3. I know that we got The Exorcist, which was great. Interview with the Vampire. And then I believe it was Pearl Harbor. I could be mistaken on the third, but at least the first 2, Interview with the Vampire and The Exorcist.
Man, you guys had some good taste in movies.
That was all my mom.
Man, way to go, Mrs. AJ. So instead of paying a price for each DVD you rent, you paid a monthly subscription fee, and every time you returned a movie, the next movie in your queue would be sent out to you automatically. It was in this same year, 1998, that Mitch Lowe joined the Netflix team as a vice president of business development and strategic alliances. The same Mitch Lowe that would later become the CEO of Moviepass. And though Mitch would leave Netflix for Redbox in 2003, he kept the lessons he learned in his back pocket for later. With Netflix's DVD by mail, no late fee, subscription model gaining in popularity, the brick and mortars like Blockbuster were starting to notice their market share shrinking. It took Blockbuster 5 years to finally offer a subscription plan and do away with late fees in 2004. But by that point, Netflix was already eyeing bringing movies directly to the subscriber using the World Wide Web.
Ooh, the World Wide Web.
The information superhighway.
That is actually a reference to a video that Sean has done on his Tick'em Tock'ems.
This is accurate, yes. And feel free to follow me at Leprechaun. By 2007, Netflix had entered the streaming service era. Blockbuster, as expected, would take another 3 years before launching their own competing service. But by that point, the writing was on the wall. In 2014, Blockbuster closed all their corporate stores.
The thing that's kind of crazy to me is that for you and I both, Blockbuster was a huge institution.
It was,
It was the place to go get movies. Yeah, I mean, there were the mom and pop shops, but Blockbuster was where you went. They had popcorn, they had candy, they had everything you wanted. Videos, games, like it was literally the place to be. If you had that little blue card, you were an A-lister at that point.
I mean, it was exciting when you got your own blue card because for most of your life you had your parents had the blue card, and then as you got a little older, because I think you could get them when you were fairly young.
I think so, yeah.
And so when you got your own, so you could go do your own rentals. Ooh, man, you're in a world of pure imagination now. You and fucking Gene Wilder, you're gonna fucking party it up.
And it was just crazy to see the rise and the fall. I know that a lot of us, I'm going to say older people, we're not really that much older, but we held on to Blockbuster, and we still feel regret with Blockbuster because it was that place. It was like the equivalent, for people that loved movies, it was the equivalent of going to Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, all right, yeah. I mean, hell, AJ and I have even talked about making a pilgrimage to.
Oh, we're going to. I'm taking, because now that we can be mobile with this podcast, we can 100% literally just go. And we can even ask them if we can actually do a podcast in their Blockbuster. We'll talk about this off camera.
Oh, all right. So, what we're referring to is there is one, and I literally mean one Blockbuster left, and it's in Bend, Oregon. And literally, it only exists now because of nostalgia. People literally, I mean, you can go there, you can get a card, you can rent movies, but really, people are going there to buy swag and kind of relive the glory days of Blockbuster, and that's literally it. It's just there for nostalgia. It's basically a nostalgia store, but there is one left, and they're still using the old system, and they still run it like a Blockbuster. It's insane that it still exists, and I can't imagine it's going to be around that much longer because eventually people are going to kind of go,
nostalgia,
we're moving on. Netflix introduced the world to the possibilities of subscription modeling. And while Blockbuster's downfall was not reading the writing on the wall of continuing pay per interaction against a direct competitor who revolutionized the practice, they would not be the last company or industry to fail the subscription exam.
Dun, dun, dun.
That was actually perfectly placed because you know what time it is, DJ?
What is it?
It's time for nail number 2. Moviepass and AMC theaters.
Ooh.
By 2011, subscriptions were the way to go. You had Netflix, you had Dollar Shave Club, you had Spotify. The Apple App Store was doing mostly subscriptions at this point.
OnlyFans.
I don't think that was around yet, was it? In 2011?
Oh, I think so. I mean, I could always buy a fan on OnlyFans, for my house, for my car.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about too. place where you buy fans.
Moving on.
Football. This was a business model that worked and worked well, which Stacy Spikes saw potential for in movie theaters. Along with his partner, Hamay Watt, they launched a service that would allow customers to pay a subscription to see movies at the cinema. The initial service went through several iterations, offering a limited number of films, a limited number of theaters, and the price tag was pretty high, starting at $50 a month. But their first hurdle came with the initial launch in 2011, when Moviepass caught the ire of the biggest theater chain in the business. Now, because this is a movie podcast, I think it is deliciously poetic foreshadowing that the headline from the Ledger Inquirer from that initial launch weekend read, AMC opposes movie subscription service.
If the one of the biggest, if not the biggest movie chain in the country tells you we don't like what you're doing, all of the others are going to follow.
And that's exactly what happened. After that first setback, Stacey and May had to take a big step back. And they not only introduced their signature red card, but they realized they were going to have to work with the theaters to show them how this model could benefit all parties. They found an unlikely ally with the AMC's Jerry Lopez in 2014, the CEO at the time. He truly saw the vision and ingenuity of bringing this model to the theater industry, and he was excited about it. Stacey and Hame suggested to Jerry they could increase movie-going by 60%. After a 2-year test run, they saw a 112% increase in movie-going.
Jeez.
The model could really work, and it would benefit everyone. The consumers get more movies for less, Moviepass offers the service, and AMC gets more butts in seats. I mean, holy fucking shit, it was a match made in fucking heaven. Everybody could benefit.
So, Sean, you're telling me that AMC stuck with this and thought, oh, we could do this too?
Oh, wouldn't that just be fucking lovely? In 2015, Jerry decided to leave AMC. According to Stacey and Hame, the new CEO, Adam, I'm not sure how to pronounce this. I don't know if it's Aaron or Aaron. It's Aron, but
Aaron, yes.
He was receptive to the idea of the subscription model, but he just didn't want to do it with Moviepass. Now, personally, this is where I call absolute fucking bullshit. The subscription notion had been around for over 15 years at this point, and it still took AMC another 2 years to initially launch their subscription service in June of 2018. You know, right as Moviepass was unraveling. You know, right when the numbers of moviegoers would have been taking a hefty dive after a year of record attendance. Yeah, I call bullshit. He didn't like the model. He was reluctantly willing to embrace the model when he thought it would benefit him the most, and his timing could not have been worse.
Oh no, it was awful. And AMC, I love seeing movies in AMC. AMC is probably my preferred service to go see or preferred theater in general. But their subscription model sucks. It really does. You can see, 3 movies a week or something like that?
I think it's 3 movies a week now. I would have to look. You know what? Hold on. Let's look it up. Because I know when it first started, it was 3 movies a month. Which was just
remember that.
It was like, is this a fucking joke?
And it was $30, I think, for their service at the time. It
was either 20 or 30, but
I can't remember. But it was like you could see 3 movies a month, and they couldn't be, I think, during certain times, or you couldn't choose your seats, or it was something really stupid. I was like, there's no reason to buy this in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, let's see here. AMC A-List can enjoy movies in any format, including Dolby and IMAX. 3 movies a week now. So yeah,
3 movies a week.
3 movies a week, which is not bad, but
that's not bad. It's not bad. It's not Moviepass, but it's not bad.
You're right, exactly. It's not Moviepass, and I think that was the biggest problem. No matter what they were going to try to introduce, Moviepass was kind of a failed experiment from the very get-go when it started offering $9.99. But let's take a step back. We'll get there. Now we already know how the Moviepass story ends. Our friend Mitch Lowe from Netflix comes over in 2016. The majority of Moviepass shares get bought by analytics firm Helos and Matheson in 2017, and their CEO, Ted Farnsworth, drops the price of Moviepass from $35 to $10 for unlimited movies. Stacey gets fired from Moviepass, and Teddy and Mitch run the company into the fucking ground.
Yep.
But let's take a small step back and look at AMC's stock price over those pivotal years. AMC stock grew to its peak of just over $150 per share in late 2016. But thanks to the exorbitant price of moviegoing and the introduction of all sorts of new streaming platforms with plenty to watch for a fraction of a night at the movies, the stock price plummeted to $50 a share over the next several months. That is until August of 2017, when all of a sudden, the stock price began to rise again, almost as if some third-party catalyst had been introduced that got people going back to the theater. Some entity that made movie-going an affordable experience again.
Mountain Dew Baja Blast.
That's the one. Yep, nailed it.
Yeah.
This rise continued and peaked at just over $90 a share. And even though that wasn't the 150 that they had once, claimed glory of, still doing pretty good compared to your $50. That's almost twice your share price. And that $90 came in August of 2018. And then the stock price began to plummet again, right alongside the downfall of Moviepass. Even before March of 2020, when the world went into full pandemic mode, AMC's stock price had fallen to $30 a share. Moviepass had given consumers a taste of affordable and frequent moviegoing. So when AMC introduced their A-plus program at twice the price and only a few movies a week around the time Moviepass was losing momentum, it was like watching Blockbuster all over again. Even Cinemark launched their subscription, Movie Club, before AMC in 2017, but at $11.99 for one movie a month, they might as well not even have a program. And that brings us to the final nail. A global pandemic. I would posit a theory of two scenarios that might have saved the movie theater industry and allowed it to limp along for maybe 10 or 15 more years. If AMC had gotten on board with the subscriptions earlier than 2015 when Moviepass first approached them and stuck with it, I think that would have allowed them to generate enough positive consumer interaction and interest to allow them to weather the coming storm of 2020.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's my theory.
I think what they should have done, honestly, if they were smart, as soon as Moviepass started doing what they were doing and they could see that there was an in tandem rise of Moviepass and AMC stock, they should have bought Moviepass.
Agreed. Yeah.
100%. That's what they should have done. They should have bought Moviepass, took their subscription model, and then just said, okay, we're going to do exactly what you guys are doing, but we're going to put it in our business.
That would have been the fucking move right
They could have been the first people that were like, you can see as many movies as you want. Obviously, they would have had to raise the price, but as long as you watch it in an AMC theater, you can do whatever you want.
I love that idea. Moviepass brought to you by AMC. Oh,
Think
man,
about that.
That could have fucking killed. They would have decimated their competitors.
Oh, 100%. They could have probably bought B&B in the next. Well, I don't even know if outside of this area is B&B really a big thing.
I don't think it is. Also, I looked up B&B. I don't even think I think they still don't have a subscription service.
Really?
Yeah. It's like, guys, are you trying to not exist anymore? Like, it's like you're actively trying. Like, you think that if you just hold tight, like somehow things are going to get better. Like, that's not what's going to happen, as I'm going to demonstrate here pretty shortly here.
Who would be the other one? Hollywood Theater, maybe? Would that be another big chain outside of this general area? Because AMC is...
I'm not sure, because I knew there was a Hollywood Theater in
Columbia, Missouri.
And there's also one in Lawrence, interestingly enough. I didn't know that.
So I would think that probably Hollywood Theater, because I remember seeing Hollywood Theaters like be a big thing.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there. Other than that, though, AMC could have literally decimated their competition.
Absolutely.
And they dropped the fucking ball.
Completely dropped it. The writing was on the wall, and that's what kills me the most. The Blockbuster model was right fucking there.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, look here. It's a lesson learned from the past. Would you like to learn the lesson? No? You'd like to do the same stupid fucking thing that this company already did? Oh, good job. This will really work out well for you. I think the only other thing that would have allowed AMC to continue to limp along, and this is limping, I think the subscription service in 2015, that would have at least let them maybe even thrive. Like, there would have been a possibility for like bringing theaters back to, some semblance of glory. The only thing that would have let them just limp along is if the pandemic hadn't happened, and that's it. But that would have only given them a few more years, if that.
I think what could have helped that as well is that during the pandemic, there were certain things you could have done social distancing wise, I think, in a movie theater that would have been very, very smart. Okay, so you have people that they still want to go see movies, right? Why not give them the ability to say, okay, well, you have maybe 10 people, kind of like how we did with escape rooms. You give 10 people a slotted time and you say, all right, well, we're going to give 10 people this amount of time. They can use the entire theater. Because they weren't making money really at all.
They kind of did that.
Kind of, but it was like towards the end.
That is very true. I don't think they introduced the whole, like, rent out the whole theater thing, which was basically what you're talking about. I don't think they did that until later. I didn't look that up, but, at this point, I don't really think it matters. Because their efforts were so. Well, first of all, Kraken.
Kraken.
With our new mics, I don't even know if they're going to be able to hear the Kraken.
Oh yeah, they could still hear the Kraken.
Still hear the
It's
Kraken.
right there. It's
That's
just gonna be a muted Kraken.
That's good. And once again, shout out to TikTok's No Fancy Shit for the Kraken. Delicious. Sponsor us, Diet Coke.
Yeah, sponsor us, Diet Coke, please. I have a fucking wedding to pay for. Jesus.
Shameless consumers.
Yes.
Shameless consumers, both of us. Anyway, where the fuck were we?
We were talking about AMC and how they just
they
dropped
just
the ball.
yeah, even with that introduction, they could have been doing it the whole time, and I just don't remember. But I don't seem to remember that really happening until maybe like a year into the pandemic. It's like, are you guys fucking kidding? Do you guys even just every effort they seem to come up with of, oh, okay, here's a thing we could maybe do to fix a problem. It's like, you guys are trying to fix problems after the problem has already fucking decimated you. Like, it's like you're going, oh, maybe we should take a look at the engine after the engine's already on fire. That's what you're doing. The engine is on fire. It is now no longer usable. And you're like, maybe we should take a look at the engine. Like, no, you need to replace the entire fucking engine
Exactly.
now.
Because now we're at a point where I'm assuming you're going to talk about where now you can just watch movies at home. So what is the point besides getting that theater
I'm going to kind of
experience?
Yeah, I'm going to kind of touch on that, sort of. Remember when I said the AMC stock dropped to $30 a share before March of 2020?
Yeah.
Once the pandemic was in full swing, it hit $10 a share at its lowest price up to that date. The price fluctuated for a bit, and then it hit a huge spike of $261 in June of 2021. Do you remember why?
Because that's, is that the vaccine?
Nope. That's what I thought. I looked at that and I was like, oh, well, that had to be because people were going back to the movies again. But I was like, $261, though. That's a lot. That's a big jump. I mean, hell, when Moviepass came out, it only jumped, up to $90?
Is that whenever the Avengers came out?
Nope. I'm really curious if you're going to remember this.
I'm truly trying to remember. I can't remember.
What if I said the word GameStop?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
AMC got meme stock status.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to tell you it was because people were going back to the movie theater again. But it's because of the meme stock status on the subreddit Wall Street Bets. You might remember a similar story about GameStop from early in 2021. I'm not going to try to explain the concepts of a short squeeze that led to the GameStop stock skyrocketing, but the subreddit Wall Street Bets played a major part in it, and it did the same thing for AMC stock later that year. The punchline, however, is when a stock is artificially inflated through a coordinated effort by individuals to buy, it's only a matter of time before the real value of the company is revealed. Today, a share of AMC. Actually, you know what? We're going to look up exactly what it is today.
Absolutely today.
Yeah, absolutely today. Because what is the
it?
number I have now?
June 9th, 2023 at a time of the day.
Yes. So, AJ, what do you think AMC is trading at today?
Its true stock value? $25.
So it's actual stock value. Like obviously, the meme stock thing that happened 2021 that was 3 years ago. So we have today. Your guess is $25?
Yeah, $25, I would say.
Okay. As of today, the stock is trading at $4.91.
Jesus.
Yeah. And this is now there are other contributing factors. There was also the strike that happened last year, and that did not help. That did not help the movie theater.
Quality movies has gone down.
Exactly, and you've got the production companies just re-releasing, the same kind of tired shit, and we've
already talked about that.
Discussed that. We've discussed that in length about how it from a business perspective. I mean, capitalism is great until you realize that you can just keep selling people the same product over and over again and continuing to make profit. Why would you innovate? Why would you want to make a newer, better product when you have a model that works and it says people will go see a Marvel film? We'll just keep making the Marvel film then.
Well, now we're kind of talking about how we talked about in that episode. We're at a Marvel fatigue. There's just so much Marvel stuff that
Absolutely.
no one's really excited about it anymore.
And the problem is, instead of going, you know what, people get fatigued if you give them too much shit. Let's not just give them the same shit over and over again. They just move on to new shit to give them over and over again.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Now that the Marvel thing is over, they're going to find another thing to just keep feeding us over and over again until we get tired of that. And they'll just keep this going until
Star Wars. They're doing that in the Disney universe right now.
Absolutely. And this is the model now. So I told you that the price was $4.91 today.
Yes.
In April, it was $2.65 a share.
Ooh, doggy.
Just like Blockbuster, the writing has been on the wall for some time, and this drop was always going to happen. It might seem easy to argue that Moviepass is responsible for the collapse of the theater industry we're currently watching unfold in real time, but the reality is, Moviepass just exposed the theater industry for their unwillingness to embrace a business model that would have required them to abandon continuous per-experience revenue for the steadier and more regular subscription program. And this is just one of the numerous ways the movie theater industry has shown its outward disdain for its customer base. Don't even get me fucking started on how the introduction of the app allowed AMC to reduce staff, which they then insisted the customer had to pay for with a convenience fee. So they're making money by not having to staff as much and by us having to pay for the existence of the app. Unfucking believable.
Personally only keep, there's a couple different reasons. I have stubs at AMC. It's like their second tier, like down where you get your points and all that kind of stuff. But literally the only reason I really do keep it is so I don't have to pay those fucking convenience fees every time I buy a ticket. It makes its money back each year because I only pay $7 for that each year. So after 3 or 4 times I watch a movie, it's already paid for.
Oh, maybe I should consider that then, because I'm so anti even giving AMC, because obviously I still want to go to the movies occasionally.
Yeah.
And I try to go to things like B&B theaters if I can, because I don't even want to work with AMC anymore because of what they've done to the movie theater industry. So what I try to do is, if I have to see a film at AMC, I don't want to give them any more money than I have to, so I just go to the theater to buy the ticket, which is a weird experience.
Yeah.
It's like everything else in my life, whether it's ordering food or purchasing something that I need for the house or signing up for some sort of service that I need, like a dental service or an eye exam. I do all of that through some sort of online portal. AMC is the exception. AMC, it's like I'm back in the fucking 1990s. I go, I look up in the newspaper what movies are coming out, and then I go to the theater to buy my ticket. Why? Because I don't want to give them the extra $5 they're charging me for the convenience of them getting to fire half their staff because the app exists. It's unfucking believable how AMC just does not get it. They actually just they refuse to take a loss on anything. They're like, well, we're not going to take a loss on anything. And this is what's happened. It's like, you refuse to take those initial losses that every business understands that sometimes you have to do in order to excite your customers about a new way of doing your model. And what it's led to is your stock in just 10 years has gone from $150 to $5. The craziest part to me is that guy I told you that said no to Moviepass when he took over for AMC, Adam Aron, still the fucking CEO.
That actually does make sense.
How?
Because he seems to have that old school theater mentality, just judging by the fact that he doesn't want to move his subscriptions. Look at their subscription in general right now. Yes, it's moving, but it's moving at like a slow pace. But they want that. The movie theater does not like change. The whole industry does not like change. You want someone with that mentality. It doesn't make sense for the business, but it makes sense for the...
Like I get that he is a reflection of the movie theater industry, but that's what I don't get is, how is the board not, even if you are just like, no, we shouldn't do subscription services, we shouldn't change things, we shouldn't be different, we should just keep trying to push forward and make the same amount of money. But how is it you're the board of AMC or you're a shareholder of AMC and you look at what's happening with AMC of going from $150 to $5 fucking a share in 10 years with the same asshole, and you don't say to yourself, why in God's name is this dumb fuck not on his ass? I'm sorry, I have no love for this man at all. He has killed AMC. And yeah, there's other factors at play. Apparently they borrowed money or did some other stuff.
Yeah.
But there's no point in going into it because it's like, those bad decisions probably could have been offset if they could have gotten people back in the fucking theaters. And, you can make all the fucking hemming and hawing you want about how the pandemic really fucked them, but I truly believe the pandemic not happening would have allowed them to limp along for maybe 3 or 4 more years after what will eventually be the fucking bankruptcy of AMC. Because it's coming. It's absolutely coming. It's $5 a fucking share. It's not going to have the absolute unbelievable crash that Moviepass had, because obviously they're at least not hemorrhaging $20 million a month,
Yeah.
which is insane. But it's going to go down. And I don't see the other movie theaters somehow being able to pick up the slack, because at this point, we've all collectively looked at the movie theater industry and said, we're good. No thanks.
Yep.
We might decide to go. I think there was a TikToker who was talking about, this is how you save the movie theater industry. If you just go 4 times a year, it's like, I do go 4 times a year. That's not enough to save the movie theater.
No, it's not.
That's not
That you would require every single person. But that's the problem, that
exactly.
The reason it's the same thing that's happening with like McDonald's and all these places. You're not reading the fucking room. When it comes down to it, the downfall of AMC, the downfall of all of these, these businesses that have been around for years, Chili's, Applebee's, all these different things, they're not moving with the fucking times.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
We don't have the money to do these convenience things anymore. So when it comes down to it, if you want me to go to the movie theaters and you want me to feel good about it, lower the cost of the fucking ticket, lower the cost of concessions. Because, even me personally right now, whenever we go see a movie, that's about $30 if we're going to just go see a regular movie, $30 for tickets. And then you're paying, $40 for drinks and popcorn? Who can spend that today?
Yeah.
You have to read the fucking room. Find some way to connect with the audience that is bleeding money right now.
And then there's the other one final thought that I have that is probably it's not as obvious, but I think this is going to be the other issue with the movie theater. Now, even if they did something like this, and this is why I say the movie theater industry is dead. Let's say today, the board goes, you know what? This Adam Aaron guy, he's a fucking moron. Get him out of our fucking way, because this company needs to move forward, and this guy is dragging us to the ground. He's movie passing us at a fucking snail's pace, but it's coming, right? So let's say the board finally smartens up and says, get rid of this moron. So they fire the guy, okay? They bring in some hot young... I say young. I'm sorry. It doesn't have to be a young guy.
Just somebody.
Somebody. They bring in, and I've even jokingly said, you know what? Fucking find some fucking kid fresh out of business school and pay him like a third of what you're paying this guy, and there you go. You've just made a little.
Fuck, I'll do it.
Right? That's what I said. Like, fuck, put me in a job. I can run a company in the ground, and you won't have to pay me anywhere near as much as you're paying this idiot. Anyway, let's say they make the smart move. They fire this guy today, and they bring in somebody who actually has vision for the future, actually gives a fuck. Well, here's the problem. The time to do that was 10 years ago.
Yep.
And since they didn't, instead of hiring somebody like another Jerry who could see the future and understand what was coming, and hiring this guy instead, what they did was they set up a domino effect. And what it's led to is, let's say they got on board, they put a subscription service out that actually made people excited about going back to the theaters. What are you going for? There's nothing to see there anymore, because everything's on fucking subscription services now, because the production companies were like, well, there's no money to be made at the theater. So let's just release straight to Prime. Let's release straight to Netflix. Let's release straight to HBO Max Plus, or whatever the fuck they're calling themselves now. There's no fucking money to be made at the theater. So you would not only have to get people back to the theater, you'd have to find a way to keep them coming by having more things to watch there, which right now, there isn't.
Here's something that I've thought of. This might save... I'm not talking about theaters as we know them today. It would have to be an evolved form of a theater. What would have to happen is that AMC, which has, as you've already stated, has long held some type of grudge against the subscription service, they'd have to partner with Netflix, Hulu, or some of those subscription services, and they would have to have some type of system where you're basically streaming the same shit you can get at home on a theater. And the problem that like it comes into is that you're still having people pay for the same shit they can get at home, but you're seeing it on the big screen. That's the only way that this can work. Because like me personally, when I see a release of like Wizard of Oz or something like that, I'm like, oh, I want to go see that in the theater.
AJ probably sees me rubbing my eyes and shaking my head right now. And it's because I just realized that my podcast partner is definitely smarter than the CEO of AMC. I never thought of that. I never thought, hey, why don't you go fucking talk to these people, the subscription services, and start figuring something out?
Yeah.
Because that would be the way to go. Because you know what? If I had a subscription service with AMC that was worth any kind of shit, and I could go there and maybe watch something that, sure, it's available on streaming, like, let's say, what about that Halloween movie, the one that we liked that was on Prime, right?
Oh yeah, the Frankenstein one.
No, not the Frankenstein one. I like that one too, though.
Totally Killer?
Totally Killer.
Yeah.
Love Totally Killer. If AMC had some sort of cool promotion where they're like, hey, as part of your subscription service, you can come in and watch this movie, or like have it like an engagement, anything to get people in the fucking theaters, that would have been fun. You know,
Partner with HBO. Think about whenever fucking like Game of Thrones was out.
Absolutely. You know,
You could have had like a whole section, like a whole theater, and said, guess what? Game of Thrones, we're playing the first season. Like we're gonna do it from like a week long. We're gonna play the entire first season. Every night that you can come in, you pay this amount of money. You can come in and watch it with us.
well, not pay, because remember, it's got to be part of your subscription.
I mean, like you pay the subscription, but
Right.
then you can get that, and you can partner with different things, and then you can do add-ons to that.
And I don't know if a week long would be good, because that's going to be problematic.
This is just throwing it out there,
Yeah.
like spitballing.
This would be more like like right now. There's I think House of the Dragon is still happening.
Yeah.
Right? But instead of you partner with HBO and you say, hey, don't release your new episode just yet. Let us show it in the theater for a limited engagement, like
Yeah.
a week prior. We will allow people that don't have our subscription, but that do have yours, to come in the door and watch, because now they're getting their concessions.
Exactly.
I mean, dear God, you're a fucking genius. You know that? I nominate AJ for CEO
I
of.
fucking told you, just fucking hire me. I got this.
I'm telling you, seriously, I'll fucking hire him. And I jokingly said, me? No, clearly I shouldn't be doing the job, because I'm just there out of spite. AJ can actually fix this shit. Holy fuck. That is a brilliant idea. Like, you've literally just made me excited about going to the theater. If they did that, like,
We could just create our own fucking theater and figure out a way to do
my
this.
God. Like Doctor Who.
Let's cut this whole fucking thing out. We're doing our own shit.
Like we just talked about Doctor Who. You instead, like, obviously you can't do it for every goddamn episode, because it would get old and tired
Yeah.
after a while. But for the season premiere and the season ender, or excuse me, it's British. So the series,
Premiere.
the series premiere and the series finale.
Yes.
Because they say series over there for each season as opposed to a season, which is super confusing, because here a series is the entire fucking show. But if you did for the series opener and the series ender, and you just had this limited engagement where it's like the week before, you don't even have to have a AMC subscription. We have partnered with Disney, who is currently the ones releasing the new Doctor Who episodes. You partner with Disney. We have partnered with Disney. So if you come and you show us your QR code,
Well, not even that. You could do it within the app. You could reserve your seat in the app.
that's what I mean. You reserve your seat within the app, and then it says, "Hey, do you currently have Disney Plus? Great. Tell us about Disney Plus. Oh, here you go." And obviously, this all also hinges on get rid of those fucking convenience fees, because they're stupid.
Yep.
I'm sorry. The cost of doing business in 2024 is that your app is free. That is the cost of doing business. There is no more pay for apps anymore. If you're paying for an app, what you're really doing is you're paying the monthly subscription for the service the app provides, not the app itself. There is no such thing as convenience fee anymore. It's 2024. Grow the fuck up.
And honestly, it could be if you really want to save the industry, what you need to do is literally do what fucking Hulu and Netflix and all these things have already done. All you have to do, make it an add-on. People will pay that little extra amount for something that they want to see. And guess what? If they don't want to do it, if they don't want to keep it on there, you can get rid of the fucking add-on. You don't have to keep paying for it.
Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest problems too, because they've refused to partner with everybody else, because they're still trying to be the monolith standing alone. Like, oh, look, we do our own thing. We're not part of anything. I mean, I'm literally thinking about, and I know this is fucked up, because now I'm gonna think like a business person. I'm gonna think like a CEO, because this is a fucked up thing that happens. But let's be honest, this is what happens. The add-ons you're talking about. One of the biggest ways they probably make money for those add-ons is people fucking forget.
Yep, that's exactly what happens.
They put the add-on on and they go, "Oh right, I've had that add-on and I don't even use that fucking service. I should probably quit that." That's why there's that whole fucking thing with Rocket Money letting you know when you have subscriptions, because people forget. But AMC, it's like your subscription is a $20 a month and it's not related to anything else. How the fuck do you think that people aren't going to notice it on their bills? You haven't partnered with anything. If yours was like an add-on for, let's say, $5 or $10 a month with a HBO or Hulu subscription, people would completely forget about it and your revenue would increase. It's fucked up to think of it in those terms, but again, it's just like you said. The key right here, the key to maybe salvaging this thing is probably partnerships.
Yeah, it's
and
partnerships.
They're just not fucking doing it.
Think about what the fuck a lot of these other places are doing. You're like McDonald's. When someone franchises, what do? They pay McDonald's to essentially like rent that little space. What would happen if you had a theater that, like a movie theater itself, like the entire portion of that theater was an HBO theater or the Netflix theater? Instead of saying, oh, like go to screen 13, go to screen 14, go to the HBO theater, go to the AMC theater. Within this, I mean, it's evolving in my head a little bit, but I'm just saying, in that same theater, the movie, like the actual companies themselves, are essentially renting space in the theater.
I don't know if that would necessarily work, but I still love the idea of we've partnered with this streaming service
to do this,
to bring you an exclusive of this thing that's going to be coming out soon. Because and of course they're going to have to pay the streaming service for this privilege. They're going to
100%,
because the streaming service is not going to do this out of the good and the stars. Like, oh sure, we'll let you show the season finale of House of Dragon at your theater for no
Bridgerton
cost. Or Bridgerton. No, they're not going to fucking do that. They're going to say, yes, we're going to let you have a 1 week exclusive, but you're going to have to pay us the amount that we would have gotten for that first week of it watching. And I think the streaming service will still get plenty of money.
Oh, they'll still get plenty of money
because there's going to be tons of people. Like hell, honestly, me for like if it's Doctor Who, I might go see it in the theater because I think that might be fun.
Yeah.
But if it's something like House of Dragon, which I'm also watching, if it was like, oh, you can go watch the season ender at fucking AMC, it's like, no thanks.
If you're already having a watch party with your friends though, and you don't want to, like, someone doesn't want to have to clean up their house, guys, let's just go to the fucking movies and watch this.
Yeah.
And then you have other fans you can talk to, because that's really what it all comes down to, is the fucking fans.
And also cosplaying.
That's what I was just thinking of too.
I was just thinking with House of Dragon. You know, if you're doing this only on streaming, yeah, there are people cosplaying, but how do you know? Because of things like TikTok. That's the only avenue you have to know that people are cosplaying about that. One of the funnest things about Star Wars or Lord of the Rings was going to the theater and seeing people wanting to
Horror Picture Show.
Rocky Horror Picture Show even. And that's a fucking movie that's been around since 1970s and it's still fucking going.
Basically, yeah. You just take the fucking Rocky Horror Picture Show mentality and put it in the theaters.
Exactly. People want to come, they want to dress up, they want to see other people's costumes, they want to show off. It's like having a little mini Comic-Con every time a fucking film gets released. And it's right there, and fucking AJ solved your problem, AMC.
Sean and AJ saves movie theaters. There you go.
I'm not taking any credit for this. AJ just saved the fucking movie theater industry, AMC. If you'll, I mean, you can go pitch it to fucking to your current CEO, but God knows he'll go, well, I like the idea, but I think I'm going to wait another 7 years before I implement anything to do with it.
I'm going to call up them. I'm like, look, this is my fucking idea. Pay for my wedding, God damn it.
Oh no, absolutely not. No, if you're not listening to this podcast, AMC, this is your own fucking fault.
Yeah, this is your own fault.
So hopefully,
maybe you'll listen to it in 10 years and get back to
it. right around the time you're declaring bankruptcy. Well, AJ, thank you for indulging me in my very angry. This was not a podcast. This is a rant.
This is a fucking rant.
What are we at right now?
We are at an hour and 7 minutes.
Yeah, this was an hour long fucking. Sean is mad at the movie theater because. And here's why. At the end of the day, I love going to the movies. I miss going to the movies more often. For anybody that doesn't know, I grew up in a middle-class family, back when the middle class existed, because it doesn't anymore. I grew up in a middle-class family. My dad was a police officer. My mom was a nurse, all right? We were not wealthy people, but my dad was able to take me to the movies every week. Now, granted, there were all the other factors of why that was, a possibility for us. But it was also because the movies were affordable. They were something you could do in the 1990s and the early 2000s that was, a possibility. If you can find me a middle-class family where the dynamic is like I just described, where everybody's going to the movies every week, I want to hear about it. I want to hear about that fucking family and how they're making that work, because there's got to be something else going on that's allowing that to happen. Because if they're able to go to the movies every week, it's because the family is paying subscriptions for everybody, member of the family. Let's say it's just 3 people, the 2 parental units and a child. You've got what, $60 right there?
Yeah.
I mean, in the 1990s, it would have been what? There were times when you could go. Hell, do you remember the Dollar Theater? Good God, I keep going on fucking tangents.
I loved the Dollar Theater. They still have something like that some places.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
For anybody that
it's
doesn't
not a
know.
dollar. It's like, how the dollar store is not the dollar store anymore. It's
Well,
like a $5 store.
yeah.
It's the same thing, but it's like $7 a ticket or something like that. However, like the cost is, it's a low cost theater. And sometimes they do free showings for kids as well.
Just to bring everybody in the loop here, in the early days of the theaters, there were secondary theaters they called the Dollar Theater. And it was like, if you were paying $5 to see a movie at someplace like AMC or Regal, you could pay $1 to see the movie like after it had been out for maybe like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, it was already at its end. It was probably going to be on VHS, but then oh my God, VHS.
VHS.
It was going to be out, like, to be able to be bought maybe in the next couple weeks. So they were like, hey, we just want to get a little bit more money on this, make sure more people can see it.
This is turning into such an old man podcast.
It really is. It really is.
I remember back when VHS was a thing.
Papa Stanwyck and I used to ride the trolley.
I used to look it up in the newspaper.
You did have to do that. You had to look at movie times in the newspaper.
Well, no, you could call Movie Phone, remember?
Jesus.
Welcome to Movie Phone. For AMC theaters, press 1.
They no longer exist anymore.
Use your keypad to punch in the first 3 digits the first 3 letters of the movie you would like to see.
And if you have a rotary phone.
Oh, God. You see that? If you have a rotary phone, you may need to... Oh, my God. Oh, rotary phone. Jesus. Oh, God.
Well, anyway, our something is created by Augusta Denise.
He's just trying to play us off so bad. He's the giant fucking hook. Whoop! Well, our music is created by Augusta Denise, logo by Design World, social media by the future Mrs. AMC CEO, mixing and editing by IPTT Studios.
And we want to hear from you in your own slice of toast. Tell us about the films you think we and others should see, actors to showcase, or apparently rants to fucking discuss. You can reach us on Instagram. You can reach us on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube at IPTT_podcast. Email us directly at IPTTpodcast@gmail.com, or interact with us directly through the Spotify app, or now on YouTube.
Hey, on YouTube. We're on YouTube.
Yeah, we're on YouTube now.
We didn't tell everyone we're on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. There's no video footage, so it's just the logo, but
There will be.
yeah, but like you can just watch, so that's kind of nice. Like,
Yeah.
or not watch, but you can just listen. You can put it on YouTube and listen. Like if you're silly enough to be paying for YouTube, don't get me started. We're going to go right back into this.
Play us off.
Play us off. And if you ever find yourself in a movie theater enjoying the magic of the movies, be sure to send us a postcard from the 1990s and let us know that Yahoo's going down in flames.
But then they can't get more toast.
No, there's no toast in the 1990s. Thanks for listening.